KEMCO publishes a lot of games. Their latest is a strange and inoffensive take on the deck-building roguelike genre. This is RPG Maker meets Slay the Spire. If the balance was thrown out the window and instead replaced with hours and hours of dialogue to read in between runs. The music is pretty darn great though, and it doesn't look too bad, at least during those runs. Is that enough to save this title from the realm of obscurity? Nope, not even close, and I'll explain why in the XboxEra review of Overrogue. One of the keys to a good deck-building roguelike game is balance. Both in-run and outside leveling systems must be finely tuned so that you feel like you're always getting better because you're learning the intricate systems correctly. Overrogue replaces this with little to no balancing and instead emphasizes gacha mechanics. Best I can tell pre-launch, there are no active microtransactions in the game, but the hooks for them are everywhere in the shop UI. The only way you truly get better is by spending currency, which you earn slowly in-game by playing the same few dungeons over and over. Getting those runs can take an extremely long time as well if you choose to pay attention to the story, so let's get into that first. You are Sail, the demon son of the Overlord of the Underworld. There is a competition being held to determine who the next Overlord will be, and after much hemming and hawing, you decide to give it your all and be the bestest demon son you can be. Joining you are various characters you'll meet along the way, and it's all incredibly forgettable. Cutscenes in between runs can be 20 plus minutes long if you read the entire thing, and I quickly found myself just pressing Y to skip through after a few hours in. There is also an option to completely turn off the story mode as well, and unless those early cutscenes and their incredibly basic writing grab you, I'd probably recommend it. There is an overworld here, though it is tiny. Essentially, you will be occasionally tasked with walking around your home base or the local city and pressing A to talk to a few people in between runs. It's also mediocre and boring, but it's not offensive. I did get a sense of care and heart here, but the translation is incredibly basic with a very literal use of English that made things always sound stilted and weird. If you know KEMCO games, then it's another one of those, and you either love it, hate it, or you've never heard of it. In the end, the main issue I end up having, as previously stated, is the terrible balance of the actual gameplay systems. First is the in-game card shop, which is literally called the Gacha Shop. It's clear that mobile game monetization was their inspiration here, and it killed things for me. If you've played a game like Slay the Spire or Monster Train, which I'll bring up a lot, you know what to expect with the energy and card cost system. Overrogue presents an incredibly dumbed-down version of these titles, and the only way to truly power up is to replay the same few missions over and over again until you can overpower the broken mechanics because you spent enough currency to make everything hit harder. There ends up being little to no strategy, and while the various decks you'll slowly unlock do play differently enough, the amount of actual strategy in a run feels minuscule in comparison to the greats in the genre. It pulls directly from Slay the Spire in almost every facet of the card and run-based systems. You'll choose from 3 cards after each match, there's an interwoven grid path to follow, treasure chests give you stickers, which are just the relics, and so on. That game and Monster Train are still on Game Pass, by the way, so if you do want to see what great versions of this genre are like and learn these systems, I'd highly recommend going that route if you can. One difference is that instead of it being a simple your turn then the enemy's turn, there is a speed system in this game akin to something more like the mobile-based Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes title. It's a nice change, but again one that is terribly balanced. I found a few times where my sticker drops allowed me to have massive amounts of speed, which broke everything. I would get to attack 6 or 7 times before an enemy could once. Then on other runs, even with high speed stacks, the enemy was attacking me every other turn, and I had no chance until I ground away more card levels. There is a lot of game here if you bother with the story, and even without, you should probably get a solid 10 plus hours in the run-only mode, so it isn't the worst value if priced well. Sadly, I have not been able to find out what the final price of the game is at launch. I know it's $8 on the Android store, but I don't know what it is on the Xbox One, and I'm hoping it's no more than $10 at most. Graphically, the game looks quite bad in the overworld, and the UI system is rather basic, but mid-run, things actually look pretty good. It's almost the 2D HD style with a nice little lighting system mixed in with a pixelated aesthetic. It's not great looking, but it is a big improvement over the bland and rather ugly overworld sections. The best part of the game, though, is the music. I have no clue if it was made specifically for this title or not, but some of the songs during runs absolutely slap, and I found myself keeping things paused so I could listen to them before they quickly and jarringly cut. Because often the audio in the game doesn't properly fade in or out, and there is no voice acting to be heard, so overall even that ends up being a mixed bag. I did not have any crashes playing, though I did have an occasional freeze that would correct itself while playing on a Series X. Load times were nearly instant, as you'd hope with what is being loaded in and out, and the UI system has pauses built into it that can be extremely frustrating as you're trying to quickly get through a section. In conclusion, Overrogue's value will depend entirely on that price, which I simply don't know for sure before launch. There are also far better options on the Xbox platform, especially those on Game Pass like Slay the Spire and Monster Train, just to name a couple. Great music and decent graphics simply cannot save what is otherwise a bloated and unbalanced mess of a title. As always, thank you so much for watching, and if you can like, comment, and subscribe, it is the best way to help this channel grow. And we'll see you next time on XboxEra.